Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thanks for watching today. I wanted to do a whole video where either I'm trying things that I've kind of pulled from the back of the drawer, products that I just haven't used in a long time. I'm still kind of contemplating like maybe a mild declutter, not a hardcore declutter. I don't know that I'm brave enough for that yet. Anyway, so we're using products today, either ones that are forgotten, and I want to make sure I still love them, or ones that are nearly new that I have yet to form a solid opinion on. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. I already have on my sunscreen, and I've been priming my face with the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. Another thing I'll tell you is I picked up this mirror. It's a new hand mirror. It's really lovely. The mirror that I had before, I've had for years, probably a good 2 or 3 years, and it came from a brand where there was some controversy with it, and I just didn't want to deal with that anymore, and it be reminded of every time I used it to put on my face. So I picked this one up. I got this one off of Etsy, but the one problem I'll tell you is, since it is a vintage mirror, it's from the 1930s. It's made out of lucite. I love just the look of it. The mirror itself has a little bit of a ripple in it. So it in the middle, like right across the middle, like right through here, it looks a little bit like a funhouse mirror, but I'm getting used to it. I'm okay. I'm not upset about it because I know it's a vintage mirror, so it's not going to be like modern mirrors, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I picked this up. This is the Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere Radiance Perfecting Foundation, thinking I was getting the Flawless Fusion. So one is more of a luminous one is more of an oil-free long wear foundation. It's supposed to be ultra long wear, and this is just more radiant. So a dewy and a matte. I don't know that it's really matte, but I've been hearing Mel Thompson talk about this nonstop for the last year, and I was like, okay, I should try it, I should try it, I should try it, I should try it. And when I went in store, and I don't have a Sephora close by, I just happened to be close to one. I was like, oh, I wanted to pick it up, and I got this instead. So I'm deciding which one I like better, but I think today I'm going to go for this one. So I'm just going to put a pump on the back of my hand, actually a couple, because these are like little baby pumps. You ever have products like that where you're like, wait, what, that's it? That's all you wrote? And I'm just going to take a foundation brush and distribute. I'm wearing the shade 1N1. It's called Creme. The nice thing about being able to do this in store, decide is this the one that I want, was that I was actually able to shade match myself. Now, the one thing I will tell you is if you are ever in Sephora and they want to use that device that tells you what shade you are, don't always trust it. Because the shade they picked for me with that device, I've had this done a couple of times, was 2 shades darker than this. And I feel like this is just on the edge of being maybe just a hair too dark, because it does tend to get just a little bit darker once I powder it. I know that fall is creeping in on us, and one of the things I'm hoping for is that IT Cosmetics will bring back this Love is the Foundation brush. I love this one. I only have one, but if they bring it back again this October like they have for the past 3 years for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'm totally getting another one. I love this oh so much, so much, so much. One of the concealers I have not used in months is the Cover FX Power Play. I initially picked up the wrong shade. I picked up the second lightest shade. And the good thing is most everybody is expanding their foundation concealer ranges. The bad thing is I haven't been picking enough up recently to really know where I fall now, because I always used to be the lightest shade of concealer, and I'm not anymore, which is good, but it makes it hard. So I have 2 of these because I kept one longer than I should have and didn't get to return it. All right, so every time I open this, I always forget that it has like a little ball doe foot applicator. It's not really a doe foot, it's the little ball applicator, and it's a little strange. I've been trying to err more on the side of close to my skin tone than significantly lighter than my skin tone when it comes to concealers recently. That's really been something that I feel, if I feel like if the concealer is too light, it just makes my under eyes you'd think it'd be counterintuitive. They just really pop through. And something more that's my natural skin tone or close to it helps to neutralize that a little bit more. I mean, you can still see it, but it's nowhere near as bright as this one or as dark as this one. You know, it's not a bad concealer. It's just not as hydrating as my favorite, which is this Jouer one. Definitely feel like I'm seeing more of the crinkles and wrinkles underneath my eyes. And they're fairly well hydrated today. I always use an eye cream. And I'm not absolutely in love with the look of this concealer. This would be one, sadly, that I would probably put in the not favorite pile. I don't know that I'd be able to get rid of it because I paid so much for it, but I hope you understand. So I'm just going to use some of the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder. This is really highly fragranced. I find that it's really good for adding to the long wear of foundations, concealers, especially on my nose. My nose tends to break up all of the time, all the time. Corners of my nose, I have a lot of oils that pop through. So if I use a good primer and then I have some good application, but this powder has really helped other products last longer than I remember them lasting. So I like it just for that. I use a slightly larger brush because I could be here all day just powdering. Under my eyes, I'm going to use the Sydney Grace Cloud 9 setting powder. This is one that I'm trying to figure out how to use. The Cloud 9 is supposed to be the mica-based powder. I really haven't seen any even hint of shimmer in this powder, but it's a completely white powder. It really reminds me of the HD powder from Makeup Forever, the white one they have. But I think it does a really great job of basically disappearing into my under eyes without making it look too dry. And it keeps my concealer in place really, really well. Let me know if you have anything exciting going on as we kind of head into September. I know that it's the very end of August as I'm recording this, so it's not officially September yet, but it just has, there's just a ton of fall going on. My kids are back in school. The weather hasn't cooled down yet, but that's okay. But, you know, Pumpkin Spice Latte is back. I know we're not that far away from all of the network TV shows kind of debuting. It's just really starting to feel like fall, and pretty soon I'm going to start dressing like it's fall, and that makes me so excited. I love that. So for bronzer today, I'm going to use the Estee Lauder Bronzed Goddess. I wear the shade 2. I tried the shade 1, and it just seemed like it was way too pale, which is weird because normally I would think if there's only 3 or 4 shades that 1 would be the lightest, 2 would be, I felt like this one was a really good match. And if I'm careful with it, doesn't end up looking too crazy. I used to love this. This used to be like the only bronzer I wore. I mean, the fact that I can start seeing the pan kind of come through right here, and it's huge. I don't have any other bronzers, with the exception of the one that's in my project pan for this year, that is even remotely close to that type of use in my entire collection, which means I just have too many bronzers. But I used to not wear bronzer for years. I was thinking that bronzer was very orange, and this was back in the years that it was very orange. And I really prided myself on being very fair and having very pale skin, which is, you know, I still have pale skin, it hasn't changed. But I felt like bronzing was kind of like trying to pretend I wasn't uber fair. So I didn't do it for a long time. And then I realized how much just shape you can create with a good bronzer. And it really brings a look together. I already look like 100% better just by having a little color. And there's something that bronzer brings to the face that blush doesn't, that I really, really love. The hardest thing for me is making sure I don't over bronze my forehead, especially on days when my hair is pulled back like this, because then it's like, ooh, the temptation is really hard to not just go in heavy. You have to be really good about blending it out, but oh yeah, it's a little heavy today. As I was talking about, I just kept going. Stop, stop, stop. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. All right, for blush today, this is one that came in a boxy charm last year. This is from Pretty Vulgar. This one is in Hush Blush. I know that when this came out, there were some people that got a variation in their box where there was a really bright fuchsia pink one, which I wouldn't have minded. Seems strange to say that I wouldn't have minded it, but I really love this one. I feel like it's a really good color for me. You know what? I just realized I intended to do my eyes first. Oh, I never do that. So of course I'm starting in here with the face. Okay, I'll tell you why in a minute. Let me just finish blushing and highlighting and spraying the face. So I decided to pull out this Benefit highlighter. This is Dandelion Twinkle. Now, I haven't used this probably in a solid good year. The reason I decided to pull it out is because I still have yet to receive the last thing that I ordered from the Sephora VIB Rouge sale, which was the new single of their new highlight cookie. And I thought, I remember liking this when I first got it, but what I remember about this is that it's very subtle. And then I got into really glowy highlights, but on days where I just want a little subtle glow, it's really quite pretty, but it's not too much. So if you're looking for something that may not be, and I haven't tried it yet, but I heard that cookie is very blingy, very blingy. I think the other thing that I like about this is that there's no glitter or shimmer. Well, shimmer, yes, but no glitter in it. And there are just a small handful of highlights that have glitter in them that I actually enjoy. Most of the time I don't like that. But this one is very finely milled. I like the way that it looks, and it leans just a little on the pink side. All right, so wanted to go in for trial number 2, Jackie Aina palette. The reason that I wanted to do my eyes first was that I had some fallout the other day from when I wore this shade. And it was beautiful, but there were just a few little sparkles that didn't brush away with the brush. And part of me feels like I could very heavily powder down here so we wouldn't have that problem, but that would just make my skin look terrible for the rest of the day, so we're not going to do that. But last time I used this, I started with Ginger, then I went into Zam, and then Soleil, and those were the only 3 shades I used. And I thought today we'd just do something different. I think I'm going to stick to these 4 right here. In between, since I really do love this one brush, I need to get like a bunch more of these. I am using my color switch, this little guy here, just rubbing my brush over it. It knocks off like all of the excess powder, so that if you are worried, why is she still using the same brush? It's I'm in love with this one. I'm in a love affair with this brush. If you're curious, it's the Sonia G Worker Pro. I am going to switch to a slightly smaller brush. This is the Wayne Goss number 5. It's a pencil brush. I'm going to take that dark brown shade called Credit, and I'm just going to put it here, and then like in the outer V, and then blend it, not with this brush. This is just for placement. It's a very pigmented brown. Oh my giddy aunt. This is a trick that I can do with most shadows, but I feel like it's still very much right there. I'm going to pick up just a little bit of this to see if I can get rid of that literal V. I don't know why I'm doing this again. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to blend it out on the other side, but I think I'm more concerned about making sure it looks exactly the same. Have you ever done that where you're like, that didn't work, let me do it on the other side? I do that all the time. I'm going to admit that I'm not the best at blending, especially darker colors, but I feel like I'm having a little bit of trouble with Credit. It's not even on both sides, and no amount of just continuing to push it around am I getting the look that I'm wanting. I didn't have any problem yesterday, but I was using a much lighter matte shade. Okay, I'm just going to leave it now, and maybe it'll fix itself as we go on blending other things on top. I'm going to use my finger and pick up this shade here. This is Sponsored. Oh, and I learned the last time I did this that if I didn't at least blow off the excess. Oh, I already got it. A little bit of fallout. Oh, I love this. I'm going to go back between those 2 matte shades and use that on the lower lash line. I'm going to take just a little flat paddle brush and pick up some of that intense gold shade that is Dwala's. I'm reaching for my Colourpop cream gel liner in the shade Overboard. It's a really beautiful kind of bronzy shade. I'm going to use that in the upper and lower waterline. So once I finished up the eye, I threw a little bit of my Colourpop cream gel liner in Overboard in both the upper and lower waterline. I used this Covergirl brow pencil. This is just their ultra fine brow pencil in soft brown on my brows, and then I topped it off with this from Colourpop. It's their Brow Boss gel in dark brown, and I feel like it gives a really nice look to the brow. I used the Steve Laurent lip liner in Chic all over the lips, and then topped it off with this little mini. It came part of a holiday set last year. It's from MAC. It's called Nutmegged. I don't know if it's a regular shade, but usually the ones that come in like holiday sets are usually like limited edition, created just for that time. There might be another shade that MAC puts out that's similar to this, but I just realized I hadn't reached for this since like January, and I was like, oh yeah, that would go really good with this look. Another product that I'm still trying to decide on, this came in my August BoxyCharm. This is the Big Ego mascara from Tarte. I'm having some problems actually getting it on my lashes. Now you think that'd be strange because the brush is huge. The problem I'm having is that the formula is so dry, it doesn't really layer well on itself. I feel like I'm hardly getting any at all. And I've only had it open for a couple of weeks, and instead of pumping it, I usually like wipe the wand around on the edges just to make sure I have plenty. And then as I go on and I coat my lashes, I just don't know that I'm getting a lot of extra where I want it. What I really look for in a mascara is length, and maybe this is more about volume and not so much the length. I was hoping for a little bit of both because I've got some pretty short, sad lashes. Anyway, that's what I did today. From what I can tell you so far, I love the way this looks. And oddly enough, I do like the Sydney Grace powder just under the eyes because I don't feel like it, boy, you can hardly tell. I did take a lot of eyeshadow lower than I normally do. I normally don't smoke things out like all the way down here with the big fluffy brush. I did this time because I got this warm reddish shade just like a lot higher than I intended to. And I was like, balance, balance, more down here. So I did a lot of this, but I don't really feel like I can see any of the white that I had the first couple times I used this. Maybe I was using too much. I don't know, but I really like it just for setting my under eyes. I don't like to have a powder that I use just strictly for that. I like a powder I can use all over my face, but I did pick up one that I'm really loving on the rest of my face. It really does help to minimize the look of my pores, but if I use it on the under eyes, my 45-year-old crinkly under eyes do not appreciate it. So, I guess nearly 45, I'm not quite there yet, but we're getting ready for it. Overall, I think it's a really fun look. I don't know that I would normally wear eyeshadow this bright, but I really like it, and I really like this shade that I have all over the lid that is sponsored. I think that is fabulous. So I like it. This is my second look with the Jackie Aina palette, and I'm rather excited. It is helping me step outside of my comfort zone. The next thing to tackle for me would be these pinks and purples right in through here. My youngest daughter came in, she's like, Mommy, I really like the way Supreme looks. And I was like, I bet you do. It's just a straight up pinky pink shade. Another one that I think is really cool, but is more of a, on me, more of a mauve-y tone is this one here. This one's called Pinker. But the really purple ones, Big Wig and Shookington, those are gonna be fun. I love purples. Pinks, they kind of scare me. Gotta get over that. All right, thank you so much for watching today. I know it was a little long. I hope if nothing else, at least it was entertaining. I hope you're having a great, great early fall. I guess it's not officially fall till the 21st, but still, I feel like once we're in September, it feels fallish to me. And if pumpkin spice lattes are out, then well, yes, it's fall. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and would you recommend my channel to somebody who you think would enjoy it? I'll see you again soon. Bye.